right. Chapter 2, extra lesson. We're going to talk about finding percents mentally. It's a lot easier than you think. You're probably going to need a few notes today, just so like if I asked you how to do it again, you need to look back so you can kind of remind yourself. But otherwise, most of it can be done up here. Yep, in your brain. So, first of all, I want to know, when would you ever have to find a percent mentally? Or when would you ever want to find a percent mentally, Jasmine? At the store, and you say, well, am I going to have enough money for this? I know it's 20% off. I want to make sure I'm going to have enough money. Okay? Any other times you maybe want to find a percent mentally? No other times in your life? Jacob? Okay, test score maybe? Test score maybe? Yep. Any other times? Anybody ever go out to eat in here? Every time, and your parents ever say, oh, what should I leave for a tip? No. 10%? Okay. So if you maybe say, okay, we're always going to leave 10%, this is the easy way to figure that out quickly in your head. You don't got to get out your calculator and say, what's 10% of? Okay. There's easy ways to do it in your head. All right, so let's talk about it. First things you need to know. Okay, this is how you start finding these things mentally. Okay, so when you want to find 50% of a number, all you do is divide by 2. That's pretty easy because 50% is always half. So when you want to find 50% of a number, all you're going to do is divide by 2. When you want to find 10% of a number, you can move the decimal to the left 1 time. I'll give you a small example when you guys are done writing. Yeah, I'll show you. We'll do some examples so you see. Alright, so let's work on this first. You all know how to do this. Divide by 2 to find 50%. So let's talk about 10%. So let's use 300. Let's find 10% of 300. Where's my decimal in 300? At the end, right? And if I'm going to move it one space to the left, what is 10%? Yeah, it would be 30. If I have 300 again, my decimal's here, and this time if I want to find 1%, how far am I going to move it? 2 spaces. So I know 1% is just 3 or $3. Yeah, whatever you want to use. If you can find 10%, you can find anything else. Can everybody remember how to find 10%? Move the decimal 1 spot. Because if you can find 10%, you can find 5%. If you can find 10%, you can find 20%. Okay, and I'll show you how that works in a second. Okay. Anybody still need this yet? Still working, Merrick? Okay. Good? Jasmine? Correct. Yep, so like she's asking, so how would I find 5%? Well, all I have to do is divide this by 2. Because what's 10 divided by 2? 5%. So 30 divided by 2 would be 15, so I know 5% would be 15. What if I want to find 20%? All I have to do is double this to get 20%, right? So I got to double that. So what do you think 20% is? 60. Yep, so you can use 10 to find literally every single thing you need to know. 1% not so much, but if you can remember how to find this, you're good to go. So let's do some practice here, okay? So let's start with 2,000, okay? So 2,000, let's do some of this in our head. We know what's 50% of 2,000? 1,000, because you know you're just going to divide it by 2. Okay? What's 10% of 2,000? 200. Remember, I'm just going to move that decimal one spot. Oh, I'm left with 200. And 1%? 20. Okay, if I move it 2 spaces, I'm left with this. Okay, see what I'm doing here? So let's find what 20% is. How can I use 10% to figure out what 20% is, Jasmine? Double it. So 20% would be 400. Let's find, let's find 70%. How could I find 70% with using what I have up here, Jasmine? I could do 10% times 7. What's another way I could figure out what 70% is? Anybody got a guess? 50% plus 2 tens, what's that? 70. So could I take 1,000 plus 200 plus 200? Doesn't that give me 70? It's going to be the same thing if I take 10% times 7. So, yeah, so just keep listening. You'll catch on. You'll catch on. So, let's see. Should be 1,400. So what I would do is I would try to start thinking to myself, okay, what can I add together up here to give myself 70? Does that make sense to you guys? Well, I can add a 50 and 2 tens. If that's the case, I'm going to add this and this 2 times. Or I could take 10% times 70. That's the easy way too. It's up to however you want to do it. Let's try another one. Let's do D. Let's do this one. I didn't do 70. 70 would have been 1,400. Let's do this one. 24. First of all, what's 50% of 24? 12. All right. Now, I'm going to say, what's 10% of 24? 2.4. Because remember, I just move my decimal one spot, then I get 2.4. For 1%, I move it 2 times, right? So then what's 1%? 0.24. Nice job. Okay. Now, let's find 20%. Now, how can I make 20% out of what I know up here? Somebody I haven't heard from, Jacob. I can add 2 tens, and that gives me 20%. So then I need to add 2 of these, which gives me 4.8. What if I wanted to find 30%? What could I do now? Let's find 30%. What? 20 plus 10? Okay, so what's that going to be? 7.2. Do you see how you can consistently work off of 10% if you need to find something? What if I wanted to find 5%? I could use my ones. Sure, take that times 5. Could I divide this by half? Yeah, I could divide that by 2 because that's going to give me 5. Divide that by 2, I get 1.2. That'd be 5%. Okay. Can you work off of anything? Yeah, you can work off 10 to find anything. You could pretty much work off 20 to find anything. Use 50 if it's 60%. What can I do to find 60% up here, Jacob? Add my 50 and 10, add these two together, I get 14.4. That's 60%. Okay. So for every single thing, find 10%. Then work off of that. Okay? All right. Okay? Yeah, if you're always working off of 50 and 10 or 5 if you need it, or we'll do another one here. We'll do another one. Okay? Let's do this. I'm going to insert a page. I'm going to use 800, and I want you to find 50%. I want you to find 10%. I want you to find 70%. And I want you to find 40%. But what should you probably find first? Your 10 and your 50. Okay? Use your 10 and your 50 to figure out what everything else would be up here. If you need to do a little scratch work on the side, that's fine. If you need to do some stuff to help you figure it out, fine. That is just fine with me. 70, you could add 50, and then 2 10s. Because 50 and 2 10s would be 70%, so you're going to add this, and then this twice, that would be 70%. Or I could take 10 times 7, or I could take 10 times 7, take that times 7, that's going to tell me what 70 is. Yep, there's a lot of different ways. Even for 40, you could do that a few different ways too. 50, what? Nope. Because 50 divided by half would be 25%. 50 minus 10%, you could do 10 times 4. If you do 50 divided by 2, that's going to be 25%, right? Because 50 divided by 2 is 25. Yep, that's another way. Yep. Yeah, so 50% should have been 40, or I'm sorry, 400. 10% is 40. 70% would have been, wait, I don't know. Wait, what's happening? 10% should be 80. There we go. And then let's see. So 560, and this would be 32, 320. You could do, like we said before, you could take 50 minus 10 to get 40, right? You could take 50 plus 2 10s to get 70. So do I care which way you do it? No. I'm going to do whichever makes sense to you. That's fine with me. Fine with me. But if I said, well, let's find, what if I said, let's find 15%? First, you probably need to find 5%, right? What's 5%? 5%. If I look at 10, and I want to get this to 5%, let's divide it by 2, 40. And now how could I find 15%? 10 plus that 5, 20. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways. I know what you meant. I know, because I did the same thing here. For what one? 5%? I would take my 10%, because what's 10 plus 5? 10 plus 5 is 15, right? So I'm going to take this plus this, and that's going to give me 15%. Yep. 13 or 11, well, that's where your 1% comes in. So, like, let's find 1%. What's 1%? 8. So if I wanted to find 11%, what do you think I need to do, Cadence? 8, well, 10 plus 1 would be 11, so this plus this. Well, I know 11% is 88 then. Okay? So that's how you do those weird things. I'm going to keep it simple today. 5s, 10s, nothing goofy like 13 or 27. Pretty much all even. Pretty much all even. So, yeah, I wanted to give you something that we talked about today. I didn't want to do like something way out in the, yeah, way out there. So let's see. All right, let's talk about this one. Let's use mental math up here in the noggin to find percents of 1800. Let's just do it together. Let's just do it together. Let's just talk about it. 1800, what do you know? What's 50% going to be? 900, right? Divided by 2. 10% is obviously going to be, what's 1%? Yep. 5%. How can I figure, somebody tell me how I can figure 5% out. Divide 180 by 2, because if I divide by 10 by 2, that gives me 5%. So 90, right? What about 25%? What can I do for this one? I could divide 50 in half, or I could take 10 plus 10 plus 5. So this plus this plus this, or let's just divide it by 2. That's easy. What can I do for 75? What do you think, Connor? Or 25% times 3, that's one way. Give me another way I can find 75, Josie. 25% plus 50. Either way, it's going to turn out to be the same answer. Henry? Oh, I could take 1,800 minus 450. Why does that work? Minus 25%, so I'm left with 75. So that's 3 different ways you guys have told me to find 75. I don't care which way you do. Jacob? Yep, I could take 50, 2 tens, and a 5. I could take 1% times 75. That'd be hard, though. If you want to do it in your head, I would do simple. So let's do it. Which one should we do? What do you think is the easiest way? You think your subtraction? So 180 or 1800 minus 25%. What is that going to be? It's going to be 1,350. Yep. No matter which way you do it, that's the answer you should come up with. Okay. How are we doing so far? Okay, so it takes a while. It honestly takes a while. And we're going to spend another day on this. We'll probably work on it Monday. Okay, we'll spend another day. So let's just talk about it. Let's think. Okay, let's go to Texas Roadhouse. Okay, let's go to Texas Roadhouse. Oh, come on. No matter what I throw out, you guys are going to hate it. Let's say we go to Texas Roadhouse. Okay? And let's say we spend $50. Say we spend $50. And like Cadence's family, you always leave a 10% tip. Okay? First of all, if you spend 50 bucks, what should your tip be? $5, right? 5. So if you spend $50, what's 10% of 50? 5. So if I ask you how much do you spend total, what would you spend? 55 bucks. Okay, does that make sense for you? Okay. Let's go to somewhere really good. Let's go to Archie's. And let's say you bring like 8 people and your bill's like this. Okay. I'm going to leave, oh yeah. Let's leave a 20% tip this time because we have a lot of people in our group. What's 20% of this? First of all, you probably have to break it down to 10, right? Then figure out what 20%. What's 10% first of all? 10% is 20. So I know 20% is 40. So my whole ticket together is going to be 240. 240. Okay. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Oh yeah, definitely. You know, sometimes they add on. Like if you bring a group, some places add on. If you bring a group of 8 or more, they automatically charge themselves like 50% tip. They put it on your bill already. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they add their own tip on, and then they don't tell you that. They just put it on the bill, and then they give you another line to add some more tip. Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? That's tricky. All right, so let's do this. Let's do this. I'm going to give you a worksheet.